And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's another special edition of the Three Man Weave College Basketball Podcast. Matthew Cox joining you as the point man tonight at the helm of the ship. We were a man light tonight, though, Kai. The cargo feels a little bit, it feels free, though. So I guess we have more range and more elbow room to spew our piping hot takes. Jim is not joining us in the wake of last week's off day.
Mhm.
It's just like at that point where get us to September. We're in the rhythm, right? We got preseason previews. We got there's a cadence, there's a structure, but we don't do well in the gray area willy nilly of the low lulls of the off season. But we will battle as we always have, and here we are. How are you, Spinny Hat
I,
King?
I'm good, Matthew. And for those of you watching on YouTube, you can see a nice picture of Jim on a boat. Yes, that's him just on the water
Oh,
looking
nice. You play. Oh,
cool.
I love this.
Yes. Yeah, we've been slacking in the podcasting game. Last week we took off. Prior to that, I was on vacation, so it was just Jim and Matt. Prior to that, it was Jeopardy, the best episode of the year. And then prior to that, we were off again. So we're ready to, as Matt said, get into some conference previews, I can't wait to actually talk like betting and real games. This is about that time, Matt, where I start to get a little bit itchy on my trigger finger. But today's episode should be fun. Got some board bets going. We're gonna give a lot of attention to the Trilly Discord, the burner Discord, of which we are partners now, and really we recommend joining. It is the best college basketball community on the web.
Yeah, if we could, we would mandate you joining, but we can't legally or actually do that, so we won't. But yeah, today's gonna be a great discussion. It's sort of a kickoff as I see it. It's called the board bet episode. Board bets are, I think, for most people, known commodities, but for those who don't, it's essentially you're putting your ball knowing knowledge on the line against another man. You're gonna look him right in the eye, shake his hand, and may the smartest, wisest man win. We're gonna list out. So far, we have 20 to 25 like premises, I guess I'd call them.
Mm-hmm.
For example, who's going to finish higher in the Big
Propositions.
Ten standing? Propositions. Thank you.
Propositions.
For example, e.g., who will finish higher in the Big Ten standings, Indiana or Purdue?
Mm.
All right. So that and many more to come. We'll break those down. And what we want to do is basically we're going to compile everyone in the Discord's responses to all of these. So we'll give these kind of 20, 25 out as sort of an appetizer today, Kai, and then we'll add and it'll grow like a virus throughout the offseason. And then by the time that beginning of November rolls around, everyone will submit their final exam of answers, I guess, solutions, SAT, ACT, whatever the hell you took. And then we will compare throughout the year. Maybe I have some categories. We already have some naturally like Big Ten, ACC, Ken Pom rankings, some player sort of superlative stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
join us. But then I think more importantly, join us after you join us today in the Discord, and then you'll be able to play along. I think we want to have this as sort of an all encompassing battle of ball knowers with the best ball knower able to actually definitively say, look at this, I outperformed all of you schmucks. And that's what we want. That's what we want. We want bragging rights
Yeah.
in a friendly, confined community.
We've done informal board bets over the past several years on our podcast. Now we're opening it up to the community
Correct.
of the Discord. We have its own channel in there, board bets, underneath the 3-Man Weave section in the Discord. Again, if you ever need help navigating the Discord, it can be a little intimidating if you've never seen it before. Even a really young guy like me had issues when I first got into it. It was intimidating.
I'm still learning.
I'm still learning.
I'm
But
still bumping around
It
there.
does make sense once you kind of get the hang of it, and especially if you're kind of in the same channels over and over again. But again, reach out. We're available. Okay, Matt, back to you.
Yeah, and make sure to join for our ongoing preview releases as I kind of plug us to get us going here. Yes, we are effectively in the top 30s at this point. So
25 tomorrow.
join and chime in. Yeah, that's right. So exciting times. If you're not missing the daily 1,000 comment chat on every team release, you are truly missing out, or you're just not a true college basketball dinner. Which is fine. That's cool. We respect your choice to have a balance in life. But first of all, Kai J. Pitty, aka Joe Paskoff, a nod to him and for all he has done for us and in his life. We thank you for the best intro and outro music in the college basketball podcast game. Please follow us on Twitter. That's at 3MW_CBB. The same handle applies on Instagram. Subscribe to our lovely podcast program on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, and most importantly, or very importantly, however you want to say it, YouTube. Go on, like, subscribe. if you're not listening on YouTube, take time out of your day. Go on there, hit like and subscribe. We'd appreciate
Please
that.
do. Just go watch it.
Yeah,
Well, hit play.
yeah.
Hit play.
And let it run all night, right? Did we get extra
Yeah.
bonus points for the?
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah.
Just do it. Yeah, just do that. Don't ask questions. Just do it. And then obviously, as we mentioned at the onset, join our Discord channel. The Burner Ball access instructions are on our Twitter handle.
The link is
Trilly's Twitter
also
handle.
in the description to this podcast video. I'm also going to ask Matt to put it in the podcast description. So if he remembers,
I did that last time, but
good.
I didn't do it the time before. Yes, that's good. Very good, Kai. We're getting better at this whole marketing
Click on
thing.
that.
Yes,
it's all good. Yes.
And I think that's it for house cleaning. Reviews we'll save for the end, or do you want to hit it right now?
No, reviews at the end. I do want to say we forgot to mention Greg Campy just had an AMA.
Yeah, that was great.
AKA an Ask Me Anything. It's basically an interview in the Discord exclusively. Matt did a great job. He took the questions from the members of the Discord, and he basically had a conversation with Greg. It was excellent. It's one of the best coaching interviews I have personally heard. He was very candid, very open. That is recorded in the Discord. You can access it once you become a member. It's $6 a month. It's less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, especially those fancy ones.
Yeah, these prices. Like, what are we like? $8 for a large cold? I mean, I'm not like I'm kind of out on cold brew now.
Oh, cold brew is fantastic though.
I just can't pay $8. I can't pay more than like a half 6-inch sandwich. That's just too much. Yeah. So anyway, point is, our exceedingly reasonably priced Discord is there for your disposal with awesome content. I think that concludes the roundup, Kyle. Let's just jump right into
the roundup.
Sorry, the intro. What leads us into our roundup, where we begin now.
All right, welcome to Roots Roundup. Today it's Kai's roundup, Kai's corner, if you will. Before we get into it, we have a little bit of an ad from CBB Analytics, who, Matt, they just added some pretty cool new features. They're always adding new features. This site is incredible. Tell us why.
Well, yeah, let's just go through some of the new features that Nick has added among the already awesome features, which we've waxed poetic about before on our program. As we've saw, just basically a really good 30,000 foot view of team, player, next level, level 2, level 3 statistics, great visual shot charts with contextual filters, as I call them, Kai. You can kind of slice and dice and see how teams played at certain times against certain teams, certain stretches of the season, both again player and team level, on off. Very usable site, and Nick continues to roll out more bells and whistles. He's got a new player comps page now for those of you who might be familiar with that tool on KenPom. He also has a really cool streaks and droughts function. Now you can see how often teams are surging or sulking throughout the game, or which teams are just more steady eddies, chip away back and forth, nip and tuck type of thing. So yeah, just again, different sort of avenues for you to understand what's happening in our great game of college basketball. I think Nick makes it all possible with his kind of holy grail, holistic, no stone unturned website. Join today for those of you interested. And please use our promo code WEAVE when you do. That is a $40 off that subscription. Saves you money, earns us money. So it's a win-win for all parties. And Nick's obviously happy to have you. Coaches, especially those heavy-duty users of all the advanced analytics, please direct us or directly contact us if you're interested in the top-notch pro tier for select users. Let us know. We're happy to set that up for you.
Yeah. CBBanalytics.com, man. I'm telling you what, I find something new every single day. I love that site. Been using it for previews nonstop. You can spend literally hours on there. I did today.
It's so helpful. Given that we've already written a ton of previews, like I can actually attest to how helpful it's been. Like I think you have so many new players on new teams, looking at how they all individually played at their prior is just like, you have to kind of break it down by like the shooting charts by player. Like that's just all, it's more important now than ever. So get on there.
All right, let's get into the show. Yes, good point. Dick Stillwagon in the chat. We have been doing a lot of ads to start this show. We've been long-winded. We'll get right to the point. And we're going to start with a great spot here. George Mason, they got fire-fested. Yes, Firefest 2.0. George Mason, if you didn't hear about this, they were supposed to go on a foreign tour to the Bahamas. They went to the airport, and they found out there were no flights booked. There were no hotel reservations booked. There were no scheduled games. A group that they were, I guess, working with, not really a travel agency of sorts, but a group that was supposed to book everything for them, basically let them down. They said sorry, but there's strong evidence that they basically got conned. And some were speculating, I don't know if this is true or not, some were speculating that Mason lost six figures worth of money. So, Matt, pretty funny, pretty weird little event. And of course, we did find out first in the Trilly Discord.
Yeah, you find out everything first in the play Discord, so join. Or you can live on a 12-hour time delay. That works too. I don't feel bad for the school.
No.
I feel bad for the alumni who apparently went down there and were ready to
Yeah.
watch, and then I guess
Oh, no, I'm
we're
in the
Bahamas.
Bahamas.
Tough.
Wah.
Yeah, you know what? So you know what? I don't feel bad for anyone except
Players?
maybe the group that tried to set this up where no one knew who they were until their unfortunate coming out party was in fact a party crashing of, again, maybe not all the way their fault, but partially their fault.
Well,
maybe some.
It might have just conned them. Might have just taken their money, frankly.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. Isn't there part ownership of like a company to verify the payment and secure and like reputational valid? I feel like there's maybe some blame. This company has some blame. I'm not saying it's a lot of blame. It might be 5%, but it's not zero. It's definitely not 0%.
Well, no, I think the company you're mentioning, I think the school should have done its due diligence. The company,
yes,
George Mason.
Totally agree.
Yeah. So interesting story. Always fun to get a story like that in the off season. Transfer news. Yeah, we're skipping recruiting because, frankly, don't tell Jim, I don't give a crap about recruiting, especially at this juncture for 2025.
I think I agree.
Don't care. Talk to me when they're in college. You know what I'm saying? Late transfers. David Coit from Northern Illinois is going to Kansas. And Tyjon Claude, Matthew, one of your throwback guys. Where did he start his career? I want to say, is it Western Carolina? Am I off on that? I'm probably off. Maybe it was Moorhead. Doesn't matter.
There's too many Claudes.
He's transferred to North Carolina from Georgia Tech. Weird getting transfers late in the game like this in mid-August.
Moorhead. Yes, Moorhead. Thank you. Yep.
Coit made a splash because he was a pretty high scorer at NIU. Frankly, I think this is a nothing burger for Kansas. Now, Tyjon Claude, maybe UNC could use him for front court depth. They kind of got a little bit raked over the coals for their transfer portal haul this offseason, but any thoughts on these two?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just sort of UNC seems a little more desperate, like, we hate our frontline size. Let's get some scrap off the street. Although Claude's he's been okay. I kind of think it's a sneaky decent pickup. Like, whatever. It's a low floor pickup. And then I think Coit's same way. It's like maybe he runs really hot and wins you a couple games because no one else has confidence off the bench and he can get cooking real quick. And okay, if he does nothing, he does nothing. Great. Again, the luxuries of these power programs with deep pockets that can just throw a guy on the roster willy-nilly is just like, it's nice. Very nice.
In other random news and notes, Cooper Flagg has been voted the number one player in college basketball from a CBS coaches poll. I believe they polled about 100 coaches. Is this controversial, Matthew? There's been a lot of discourse in the Discord about whether Cooper Flagg should be a top 5 player in the sport. Of course, doesn't matter, but people love lists. We ranked Cooper Flagg as a top 5 player heading into this season. Do you put any stock in what coaches say in the preseason at this?
No, of course not. But I'll opine on it since we're discussing it currently. I think he should be. It feels like the hype is pretty valid, and I don't know, R.J. Davis, Hunter Dickinson.
R.J. Davis was our number one player.
I think Davis would have been maybe my choice. I think he's sort of the face of the sport, although I think the sport's sort of, God, Flagg's been probably more publicized the last 5 months than anyone. So whatever. I think it'll be awesome. I'm cool with it. No issues. Nice job, coaches.
Madison Square Garden is getting a very nice matchup this season in February, a non-con game in February featuring Duke and Illinois. Very fun. We love these. Do you love these February games, Matthew? These non-con games in the middle of conference?
Yes, I do. They're rare. We used to do the Big Ten ACC Challenge. Some of them are like in the November, December timeframe. Some are like in the February timeframe. I kind of like them. Breaks up the monotony of the schedule. Yeah, here for them. Why not? Shake it up. Big game in the middle of conference play.
As a big Dookie fan, are you nervous?
Is this season or yeah, this is this
This is
season,
the
correct?
season. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm sorry, Illinois fans. I know you're going to be out for blood in that game, but I think Duke takes care of business. Frankly, I do.
As do I. Also, Gonzaga and Baylor. They're going to be playing in the opening week of college
That's a
basketball.
doozy. Yeah,
That's fun. We all remember, was it 2019 when Baylor Gonzaga championship
2020,
game? 2020?
2020. Yeah, the COVID title.
2021, 2020. Yes. Yes. Doesn't matter. That game was awesome. Uh,
21, 21, 21, 21.
High octane, fantastic fuel. I think they've played since then as well. But potentially this game could be in Vegas. But it is going to be played in the opening week. Going to get some humdingers of games in the first week of the season, as it should. College basketball. Come on, man. Put marquee matchups at the beginning of the year. Let's get people into this sport. I know our buddy Goodman is always talking about that, how we should be putting marquee matchups in like day one instead of 100 games of. We love
Yep.
the mid majors, frankly, but
Big ups
he's right.
to big props to Scott Drew, Bruce Pearl last year. Remember they played that marquee game at the Pentagon, I think, on opening night, which was again, like you said, a pretty starved slate for marquee games. I love it. Continue to do it, Scott Drew. Roll the dice. It's going to burn you one time or two. Where oh no, you're 0-1 in non-con. Ooh, it's like nah, you'll be fine. The power conference schools who are like legit programs have no excuse to not play these games. No excuse.
So
It's all upside.
Kansas plays top 3 schedule every year, and Alabama's doing the same. All right, that does it for Kai's Corner, aka Roots Roundup. Matthew, let's get into some board bets. You're going to lead us through this section.
Board bets indeed, Kai. We're gonna go. I don't know, rapid fire ish, but I think some healthy discussion when needed. But again, for those of you listening, if you're not a Discord member, this is sort of the appetizer for what you can contribute or how you can participate in our fun little but highly intense game this season, testing your ball knowing knowledge with some hypothetical, not hypothetical, actual propositions that we will see graded at the end of the season. So yeah, we'll go through the burner ones, Kai. As we talk through them, I have a feeling we may come up with a few off the dome. I'm going to jot those down and we can add them for consideration. And again, this list will only grow as the offseason grows, as our previews continue to drip in the Discord. Let's start. I started about organizing these, Kai. I opted to not. I kind of thought the back and forth ping pong would be a little bit more fun and keep us on our toes.
Why not? Take us, Matthew.
And you know me, I like chaos and I hate organization. Okay, off the cuff, who finishes higher, Kai, in the SEC standings this season? Arkansas or Kentucky? Going to tickle some mad fan bases right now, right off the cuff.
This is very difficult because I think I have these teams, or I will have these teams, like right next to each other, neck and neck. I think my answer is Arkansas, Matthew. As of today, August 15th, I reserve the right to change that later, but I do think it's Arkansas. If Calipari was still at Kentucky, I think that would be the answer that people would say. I think the Kentucky brand might kind of get in the Brave waves a little bit. It's basically Kentucky at Arkansas. I think Cal once again has a fantastic roster.
I went Arkansas as well. It's a fun premise because both these teams are being like moderately conservatively rated for the. I mean, like Kentucky's like 23 and Bart and Arkansas is like 35. Like I think there's, I think outside of the fan bases, outside of the echo chambers, I think there's pretty modest expectations, and I kind of like both. I did Arkansas as well, but the second question, sort of a 1B, who goes farther in the NCAA tournament? How did you zigzag on this one? Did you go Kentucky after going Arky with your first higher in SEC standings pick?
Little jab here to both coaches. Pope has never won.
A little bit.
Pope has never won a tournament game.
Didn't look good last year, that's for sure.
Calipari was kicked out the first game of the tournament. He's had his rough patches, hence his firing, basically, or show him the door. I will go Arkansas again, Matt.
I went Kentucky just to play along with the zigzag nature of this board bet 2-pack. My honest opinion, I think they both go one and done. I think they both win round one. They're both tournament teams, but then I think they go home before the second weekend. So, Big East ball, battle of the bottom feeders. With all due respect to our Georgetown and DePaul loyal listeners, who will finish higher in KenPom's final rankings was the premise here. This is one where with the balanced schedule, you could probably just say who finishes higher in the Big East, correct?
I prefer KenPom because I think it
does feel like a truer measure.
Yeah.
I agree. There are exceptions. there are exceptions at the end
Sure.
of like Ohio State last season. Like I know they were a top 50 compound team, but like they really weren't that good. So I'm okay with the premise here. Two teams that probably will just be looking to improve next season. I think Georgetown probably has higher expectations, big picture as a program, and coming into cool year two. I went to Paul. I've been on
Yeah.
record before. I like the Demons. So
I personally don't think it's much of a choice. I think it's DePaul as well. Chris Holtman's coming in. This Georgetown roster is horrible. Uh, I wrote both these teams recently, and man, I'm not a fan of Georgetown. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't want to kick the horse
yeah.
while it's down. That's a
Hmm.
new saying. Kick the horse while it's down. But I just do not like this team. And in the chat, Mr. Aaron A. CBA, he actually thinks Villanova will finish behind two of DePaul, Georgetown, and Butler. That's a pretty spicy
Ooh,
take. That's a pretty spicy take.
Kyle Neptune, your
Mm.
response. Yeah, we'll see about that. I can't go to that level of low with Villanova. I'm just not there. But I appreciate his boldness. Thank you for chiming in.
Will you go to a DePaul
Number,
game this season, Matthew?
yeah, we do. And a UIC game to see our guy Rob Eson resurrect the Flame
Forgot he was coaching there.
Ons.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Mm.
All
All right,
man, that's a
let's
sad
pencil
program.
that in. We'll definitely do that.
Yeah, good. Softly penciled, jots on paper. Number 4 here. What will be the highest seeded Big Ten team in the 2025 tournament? So,
So you mean the number of
Big
the seed or
Ten,
the team?
just the team, highest seed. Kind of this is the annual Big Ten fodder. There's no great teams. There's lots of really good teams. So, who do you think actually gets the highest seed? And I am ashamed to say I went with Indiana,
Ooh.
and there couldn't be a more incorrect answer. I really struggle with this one. Like I like a lot of Big Ten teams a lot, but I'm conservatively skeptical of many of them too. I did go Indiana. Bet on the talent.
Purdue, Matthew. I think Purdue's the best team in this
I had
conference.
Purdue
I think
too.
they're a
Okay.
top 10 team. Spoiler
Are they a
for
top 4 seed? Top 4
yes,
seed?
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Purdue's gonna be really good this season.
Um, we'll stay in the Big Ten. Who finishes higher in the Big Ten standings this season? Illinois or Oregon? Have not looked at the inbound schedule yet. So yeah, Big Ten's always tough, and this year especially. Who the hell knows? But I think the premise, Kai, where do you stand here? Oregon v. Illinois.
For
I think I
those
know where you
for
stand.
those outside of the Discord right now, Illinois is a very strong fan base within there. They think they're being disrespected. I really like Oregon this season. I like Illinois as well, but Oregon is my choice out of these two as of today. I feel like we're high on Oregon every single season, but if they stay healthy, I really think this team will be very, very good. Top 25 good this season.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't need to pile any more than that. I'm with the Ducks. Dana Altman bounce back season, like the roster. Jackson Shellstead take me to glory. We'll stay in the Big Ten again. A lot of Big Ten fodder in our fine Discord. Um, we're back to Indiana. Kai, over under Indiana's NCAA tournament seed under 5.5, over 5.5. The line was 5.5. 5 seed or higher,
Mm-hmm.
6 seed or lower. And lower obviously includes missing the dance altogether. Let's pray for the sake of college basketball's ecosystem that IU is dancing next season. But your thoughts, Kai?
I think 5.5 is a pretty good line. I think they're a
Yeah, I
5 or a
agree.
6. I think they get a 5 or a 6 in the
I
tournament.
think they're a 4 seed.
I'll go under. I'll say 5 or 4.
I got them as a 4, and I don't know, Purdue as a 5 in my very loosely non-precise calculations for bracketology. Kai, here's a fun exercise. This is kind of a long one here. A fun exercise we can kind of fire through and back into our show our work for our final answer. This will be fun to look at kind of what the breakdown is of choices here in the Discord. There were 15 power conference teams last year who did not make the tournament. How many of them, of the 15, make it this season? And the number in the Discord was set at 10.5. So, Kai, here are the teams. And I'll just go through them. I'll rapid fire list them, and then we'll go through one by one to say if I think they get in or not. Wake Forest, Kansas State, Cincinnati, St. John's, Providence, Xavier, Indiana, Ohio State, Michigan, Rutgers, Maryland, UCLA, Ole Miss, Georgia, and Arkansas. From the top, here is what I decided. Wake, tournament team, yes. Kansas State, yes. Cincy, yes.
Yes.
St. John's, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I got four confident yays to start us off there.
Yeah, Kansas State. I'm kind of I'm
I know. I
50-50.
looked at it again. I looked at it again today. They're getting there. They'll be a tournament team.
Wake, Cincy, St. John's are locks for me.
How about Providence, Kai? Do I lose you at Providence?
You lose me at Providence. I don't think
Okay.
Providence will make the tournament.
I went no for the sake of being conservative here. So I'm at 4-1 no. I go to Xavier, yes.
Yes.
Indiana, yes. Ohio State, yes.
Yes. Yes. I
Michigan,
go yes.
Michigan, yes.
Yes.
I like Dusty too much. Sorry. I know I'm probably biased there. Rutgers, I think we have to say yes. If we don't, we're
Rutgers,
haters of
yes.
freshmen.
How many spots
Yes.
are in the tournament again? We're saying yes for like all these teams.
Well, they're expanding. There's gonna be 100 spots in like
Yeah.
a year. There'll be 500 spots in 2 years. So everyone gets a house. Maryland, yes. Right?
Uh,
Or no?
no, I say no.
I'm probably higher on. Okay. UCLA, I went yes as well.
Yes.
I have a lot of yeses. That's the theme here. I said under when I initially discussed this in the Discord. I have completely swerved back to over. I like a lot of these teams. I had yes for UCLA. Ole Miss, I had a yes as well.
Mhm.
Arkansas, I had a yes as well.
Yep.
And then Georgia, I
no.
went no, but feisty. I put feisty.
Georgia's
so.
a hard no. Mizzou should be on this list instead of Georgia for picking better teams there. Mizzou's better than Georgia.
So I got to 12. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I don't know if I can get there with you, but I got to 12, 13 yeses. I know you need to account for some downside variance when you're doing the kind of stuff, but I think 10 and a half is a pretty good line. I'd still like the over. I'm pretty bullish on that crop of teams.
It's a solid line. It's funny how many of those teams are projected to be, really good this season. And
Yeah.
I'm trying
totally.
to see like
Yep.
the opposite side of like, okay, which teams get put out? And
I don't see any like bad year. Like Providence will not be bad. Like
no, they won't
the
be,
worst case outcome,
They'll be coolies.
they won't be bad.
If you're talking about teams
Yeah.
that made it last year, Mountain West is a good place to start, right? They're not going to get
right.
5-6 bids this season like they did last year. They'll probably be a 2-bid league. It could be a 1-bid league. There'll probably be a 2, maybe 3.
I think 2 is a good number for Mountain West. So
I think
board bet enthusiast. I think if you're
out.
working it, yeah.
Nebraska might be out as well from the Big Ten. BYU is iffy in the Big 12.
Yeah, BYU is interesting. I agree. We'll get to BYU in a second. We have a Big 12 related question in this same format.
I've said a lot of yeses there, Matthew. I would take
I
the
went over. I think over is the sucker bet, but I'm going to be a sucker. Suckers win money too, I think, right? Fade the public only works when the public loses. Public sometimes wins. So sucker spinny bet for me. Kai, we go to number 8 here, if I'm counting correctly. DePaul with a second mention. God, I love that DePaul getting so much love here on our board, but who will finish higher in Ken Palm's rankings? So who'll be better this year, basically? DePaul or Cal?
Yeah, it's Cal for me.
Cal Berkeley, Mark Matz, the dancing bear. I went DePaul. I think I'm an idiot. I think I missed this one. It's Cal?
I kind of like this Cal team. I love Matson. I think he's going to have this program competing for a tournament eventually. I don't know if this is the year for that, but I do think they'll be better than DePaul this season.
Both those rosters are just entirely new projects. Weird that it feels like year one in Cal when last year was year one because they just got such a late start. Last year was like a 0.5. This is like year one. Part 2 of chapter 1 is what this season is for Mark Matz. I still go DePaul. Next proposition. Where are we here? Oh, there we are. The battle of the purple people eaters, Kansas State, TCU, Kai. Who will finish higher in Ken Palm's final rankings?
Really good question. Again, 2 teams I'd probably
Great premise.
Really
agree. Same conference. Yes.
Who do you say? You start.
I went K-State. I went
K-State too.
Yeah, maybe it's the I probably need to stop being seduced by the late shiny acquisitions, but the talent's pretty good. It's really good. I still think Tank can coach basketball.
Talent is solid. Yes. If Doug McDaniel can be good version of Doug McDaniel. Yes.
Yeah.
He's the key.
I hope he plays home and road games this year. That'd be nice. They probably could use him on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Another lengthy counting type question. We're going to show our work here. We go to the Big 12, as I just teased about 2 seconds ago. How many bids will the bigger and badder 12 get this season? Kai, the number was set at 9.5. Now, again, this is a 16-team gauntlet.
And no Pac-12 anymore.
And no Pac-12. Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah. By the way, I only have one of those teams making the tournament.
Yeah, it's
However,
only Arizona from that group.
I agree. Okay. So let's start from the top, though. Let's get the obvious here. I could not get to 9. I got Houston.
Yes.
Yes. Kansas. Yes. Baylor. Yes. Iowa State. Yes. And then I paused a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I have Cincy. We have K State, right? We got to be consistent.
I got Cincy for sure.
That's 6.
K State.
Texas Tech. Okay. Texas Tech
for sure.
Okay. That's 7. Then you're at 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
BYU TCU. Are you waffling with me?
I say call them both halves.
I might even go less than half. And okay, fine. Oklahoma State, Stevie Lutz and the Pokes. Galbert, yeah,
Probably
year
out.
1.
Probably out.
UCF,
No.
West Virginia.
I think they.
How much do you respect, Mr. DeVries?
Another half.
Tucker.
It's another half. So, I guess you're saying I'm saying I'm not very confident in about 4 or 5 of these teams. They're
Exactly.
They're
I think the Big 12 is bubblicious this season. That the takeaway of this board bet discussion is Big 12 is, I think, even more bubblicious than I thought it was at first glance.
I think you have 4 top 15 teams, maybe even top 10 teams in the country.
Yeah.
You have 2 more locks, in my opinion, Texas Tech and Cincinnati. And then you have 4 or 5 teams that are on the bubble, squarely on. Oh, Arizona too. Forgot about Arizona, Matt. So that's.
I think there's 5 locks.
6 locks.
5 stone cold locks.
5 locks. Okay. The first
Houston,
4
Kansas, Baylor, Iowa State, Arizona.
Yeah.
I can't say
You're
Texas Tech, Cincy are like stone cold locks.
Okay.
No, I can't get there.
5 stone colds. 2, I think, feel pretty good about with Texas Tech and Cincy, in my opinion. And then K-State, TCU, BYU, West Virginia fighting for the next 2 to 4 spots.
We should mention Arizona State. I think this is one of those where we're probably rolling our eyes. Yeah, right. I think we're right to roll our eyes at the hype that they're getting, but the talent is good.
No.
But Bobby's a do more with less guy, not necessarily a do a lot with more guy. If that saying holds up.
Every single season he has talent, and this is definitely not one of his more talented teams, in my opinion.
There's kind of a Hurley zone. We've somehow we managed to avoid PR staining the Bobby Hurley thing. There's kind of a Hurley zone.
This is Alston Mason, BJ Freeman show. No thanks.
Yeah. But conclusion, I went under 9.5 bids. I think I got to I think 8 is my official prediction. I'm going on record. So I guess I'm not
8 or 9.
selling, or I'm selling the Big Ten bubble teams.
12
is maybe the portfolio takeaway. And Utah, I mean, who knows?
No.
God, why is that team in this conference? All right, number 11. And again, Big 12 theme here. We're going to talk about the best defensive teams in the country. At least they have in the last 3 years. I have the numbers pretty crazy. But who will have a better defense this year, Kai? Iowa State or Houston? Which immovable object will be more immovable?
Houston. Houston, Matthew, is my answer.
Trivia question for you. Who finished number 1 overall last year?
It was Iowa State because they smoked Houston in the last game.
Oh, well, that too.
Yeah.
Oh, is that when it flipped?
Houston was number 1 the entire year.
Then, good context. Thank you. Okay, sorry. I just went to Iowa State didn't play anybody narrative, which is not entirely fair.
No, that's not a good narrative. They played the Big 12.
Yeah, I'm saying in the non-con. They actually played some good teams.
Their strength of schedule was 40
teams.
when you include everything. The non-con, you're right. They played a nobody.
But Houston was the number 1 overall defense in Big 12 play exclusively, for those of you who care about that.
Yeah.
TJ Otzelberger, I used to call him Coach Oates. I've learned and evolved since those trying times. Coach Oates, 5, 8, and 1 are his last 3 defensive ratings. Kelvin Sampson, 8, 5, and 2 with 9, 21st. Ew, horrible. 11th and 13th overall defensive rankings the 4 year before. So
yeah,
really good board bet premise here.
Don't mention Otzelberger's 5 years before Iowa State. I will. 217, 133, 183, 150, 303. But he figured it out. He figured it out.
Shots at Mike Tom? Yeah, different type of player, I think. Maybe a part of that. Let's go to a LA 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 Land showdown here. Who will finish higher in KenPom's overall rankings, USC or UCLA?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's UCLA, right? Are we all just like, yes, UCLA for sure?
Yeah.
I think it's closer than people think. I do want to say if they're like an odds adjusted value, maybe I could talk into USC folks, but I think UCLA is the right choice.
I'm pretty in on UCLA this season. I think they're going to be very good. Big bounce back here for them. Tournament team. And USC is mid-major all-stars. is what they are.
That's harsh.
That might they're literally all mid-major players. They were good at that level, but
No, you're right.
I don't think it's a Pac-12. Now, collectively, it could finish within the middle and make the tournament, sure, but I don't think there's a lot of upside to USC this season.
Yeah. So Eric Musselman Kai calls it his most connected group he's ever coached this offseason. So
Is
make
it
sure you
because
add that to
he
your
finally didn't
consideration.
bring in egos? He brought in
I
players that know how to play
Yeah,
with one another.
we'll see. I just think he's happy to be in California again. Frankly, I think he's just like really. I think he was ready to move on. So he sounds like um, a man on a new mission. So I applaud him and his family for that discovery.
These
I think
teams
USC might
being
be
in the
kind of
Big Ten
good.
are just ridiculous. This is the
I
dumbest
know.
thing.
Do you think where you go to the ACC tab and you can't find a team and you go to the
Yeah.
other tab and it's like, oh, okay, wait, I checked 3 conferences. It has to be one of the four. Yeah. Maybe by October we'll get
Boy,
that
I
down.
mean, they're really old. They have a ton of depth.
Yeah. Grad,
Like,
grad, 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 grad,
yeah.
grad. Oh, only Kevin Patton, who I love, by the way, from San Diego, probably won't play, youngster, but only underclassmen on this team.
I
So
saw
we'll see.
Terrence Williams play for a bad Michigan team. I saw Desmond Claude. He had to be the guy for Xavier, and he wasn't great efficiency wise. I saw St. Thomas play for a horrible Loyola team and not good
Yeah, but
Northern
he looked
Colorado
good. He
team.
looked good out there in Greenlee, though. St. Thomas is going
Sure.
to be good. I like St.
Josh
Thomas a
Cohen,
lot.
I still have doubts about translating, even though he played really well at UMass.
I kind of agree with you there. I partly agree there.
Clark Slatcher's not a power conference player. I don't know. We'll
Yeah,
see. TBD. Musselman's
it's a
done
lot
it
of
before with
quantity.
transfers.
Yeah, it's a lot of quantity. Well, hey, let's keep discussing USC. Who finishes higher in the Big Ten standings this season, Washington or USC? So a little bit of a Washington versus USC debate. Danny Sprinkle, year one. Do you trust his year one mojo more than Muscles?
Yeah,
I don't. I like Musselman's better. I think USC is
I
better
think Danny
than
Sprinkle's a
Washington.
fantastic coach.
I don't disagree.
Boy, I'd probably lean USC if I had to make a choice on who finishes higher in the standings. But I think Washington might have a higher ceiling if that's an allowable
Interesting. I
caveat.
don't. Uh, I can't really refute that point. I guess they have a little bit of. They have some
They
younger.
have the best player of the two teams.
I would agree with that. Kratos for, and they have
Yes.
some young talent. Which what does that mean? We love DJ Davis, obviously. Maybe we like.
Davis,
Maybe it
great
could be
player.
a. I think DJ Davis just maybe captivates us too much.
He's a good player.
And Tyree Nacho off the pine. Yeah, maybe I go Washington. No, I'm going USC. I just more consistent, more reliable talent.
Yep. I would go USC if had to choose a side there.
Let's go with okay. So a couple of these at the end we'll have to save because they're a little more subjective, but great premise. Which I'm curious what your take is on this. We should try to find a way to measure this, maybe like by conference win percentage or strength of schedule, win adjusted. I don't know. It's basically of the teams who dominate their conference. Which of the following is the safest, most likely to win the regular season title? Like, who would you bet the most money on? Yes, no, to for sure win it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Gonzaga and Duke, right? I think two clear-cut favorites in their league. Although you could argue Duke's probably maybe misrepresented as a clear-cut favorite because they have not been as dominant in regular season play historically. Gonzaga obviously kind of slipped back down to St. Mary's, but I think everyone expects them to be just a world beater this season. Then we have Colgate and McNeese at the low major level, and Grand Canyon is the fifth option. It's sort of that mid-major part of this. I think McNeese, Kai, is the best choice.
The answer is McNeese. I think there'll be 100 spots at least over the second place team in the Southland. Stephen F. Austin's there this year, actually. I think about
Yes.
that. I'd still
Yes,
go
they are.
McNeese. Colgate is right behind them in terms of dominating the conference. Like, Grand Canyon is the best team out of those three teams, but the WAC is good, and Sam Houston has. Excuse me, they're in the conference USA. Excuse me, but the WAC has other teams capable of winning that conference. I don't think anybody in the Patriot will unseat Colgate as long as Langle is there. I think McNeese is way better than every single other team in the Southland, with slight apologies to SFA.
Yeah, and I do feel disrespectful. I probably should throw Vermont in this as well. If we're going to mention Colgate, we
Vermont
probably
too,
just because
sure.
of the
Yeah.
default program institutional success with coach who just knows what he's doing.
Would
I
never
think
pick Duke.
I actually think Gonzaga is my safest pick to win this conference.
They should win. Yeah, they should go undefeated.
Because I do think SFA could be like a weird just like usurping uprising force. And McNeese maybe has a couple guys kicked off for doing stupid shit, and Will Wade's gets suspended for something that's outside the bat. I don't know. I mean, like I think there's just more of a blow up potential here, but they were just so good last year. It's tough to bet against what Wade's got doing down there.
I do want to see. I literally think the gap. Yeah, they were 115 spots higher than the next team in their conference. That's just
Who was the second best team? That's a good trivia
Texas A&M
question.
Corpus Christi.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, Jim Shaw. Okay, who cares? Next. Oh, fun subjective. I don't know if I heard your answer on this. Who'd you rather have for 1 year, Kai? Braden Smith or Caleb Love? One
Well,
guy.
I think you need context of who's on your team.
I know,
I
but
think
I
you
was trying to make it as simple in a vacuum premise as possible, which is impossible. So this entire proposition is stupid. I get that. If you're starting your team from scratch,
from scratch. I would choose Braden Smith.
yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah. See, I said Caleb Love in the chat, and I was like, I think if I frame it like that, I'd probably take Braden
But
Smith.
I think Caleb Love is the better player. So I know that
Okay,
doesn't
there you go.
really.
See, I'm trying to,
I think Caleb Love
I'm
is
with you on
better
that.
than Braden Smith at the game of basketball, but that
I
includes all
agree.
of his athleticism and his abilities. I mean, he he gets a lot of flack. I've given him so much crap, but he's still an All-American, and he's the reigning Pac-12 Player of the Year. Braden Smith is a great player too. I don't think Braden Smith can be 20 points per game alpha on a team. And people think he's going to be that this year. He's not. He's not going to be the number one option scorer or whatever for Purdue. He's still going to set the table and be the point guard. He is the most important player in Purdue for sure. But yeah, I suppose I'd rather have him on my team, Matt. I think Caleb Love is a better basketball player.
Yeah, I think Smith could average like 10 assists a game this season.
Yeah.
He averaged eight
Well,
last
helps
year,
having Edie
7.5.
automatic bucket.
That's what I'm saying. I think like I still think he will have the ball in his hands a ton.
Yeah, he will.
But
And
I'm with you.
Purdue's
Yeah.
gonna be awesome, man.
Edie was an auto assist. Edie was like the easiest assist you could chalk up in the stat book. So yeah, it's tough.
Who would you rather have?
I would love by a Smith. I do want to. Yeah, I think Love's just a better player. I think Love's hate has gone so far to where I think he's almost
I don't think he's a
undervalued
smart player.
relative
I think
to
he's a pretty dumb
no.
player. If I had to give a smart dumb spectrum for Love, it'd be on the dumb side. That's what's held him in
But
college.
he's a
for 5
great
years, frankly.
he's a great weapon. Yeah, exactly. You're right.
Yeah.
But he's a good upside weapon. Use him correctly. Like I don't think he.
You
I don't know,
say
Arizona fans are
go
probably
get a bucket, Love or Smith. I'm taking Love. Go get a bucket.
yeah. I guess the counter is like, why are you? Do you need to play hero ball? I guess would be a good counter. It's like, oh yeah, sometimes
Yeah, reel it in.
stuff gets shut down.
Just reel it in.
You don't want to have a loser taking your last second. And Love can make him from 35 when he's on fire. Let's go to these last four, Kai. We're gonna skip that. So there's a premise that's floating there where I think this is Jim's idea. We're still workshopping it, but I do love this. Got a ton of good feedback in the Discord. You're basically gonna pick four teams in the what we call the middle no man's land mush of KenPom's ranking. So we said like from 40-ish to like 80-ish. Like pick four teams that you like the best, that you think are undervalued, a portfolio. And so we take those four teams, their starting KenPom rank, we track to their ending KenPom rank, and the net gains, I guess at that point, realized gains will be the overall score of your portfolio.
I think it's a really good idea. Yes, I'm excited for this.
Great. I think it could be an entire episode. We have like a whole 10-team
we can
portfolio
choose our little,
competition.
Portfolio. I think we should.
Buyers and sellers.
Write that down.
You know what I mean?
Well, you're gonna
short squeeze.
You're allowed to short.
I think you should.
Teams?
Yeah, I think you should.
Okay.
I think you should. This premise has been done before. It just seems like it's not gotten. I don't know what. I think you got just kind of upended by other cool things, other shinier toys, and I don't know. But yeah, this premise is good. We're gonna still workshop this. So teaser. All right, our final four, and then we'll get to reviews and I guess eat dinner here, Mr. McKeon.
I'm having pizza tonight, frozen pizza.
I don't know what I think. There's something being concocted in the kitchen. It might be a stir fry. Hoping it's a
must
stir
be
fry.
Nice to have a wife that cooks.
Yeah. Thanks, Monica. So lucky, are we? Number 16 here. Will San Diego State finish higher or lower than the top 50 mark in KenPom? So are they a top 50 team this year? I think the obvious answer is yes. They're always a top 50 team, Kai. However, this year
we had them 50 in our countdown, Matthew. In fact,
I was a little bit bearish. I think I'm the idiot here. Did you go over? You go top 50?
They'll be a top 50 team in my opinion. They've been that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years running, and 6 out of 7 years for Dutch. This is his worst team on paper since his last bad
I
year
think
in 2019.
yeah, 2019, which was
They were 125 in Ken Palm. They still
he was
competed and
yeah.
played fairly well, but was not a very good team. On
It is
paper, not
crazy
good.
that that's how good the Mountain West has gotten. Kai, you're right. That was a 21-13 team. 11, they finished fourth in the league, and it
Yeah,
was 125th overall in Ken Palm. Mountain West has just made leaps and bounds
it's
improvement
it's
since.
been a dominant defense for him. I think the defense, despite the personnel not being exactly what he normally has, I think the defense is still going to be very, very good.
Yeah, Nicky Boyd's going to run the show
You
to a
love Nick Boyd.
pristine precision. Yeah, we like Nick Boyd. That's an asset of a get for
weren't
Dutch and
weren't you
Co.
weren't you low on San Diego State last year too, to your own
Yes,
peril?
yes.
I think you were low, and St. Mary's.
Yeah, I know they were a 22 in Kempom. I get that, and they lost 11 games. I mean,
Oh,
just Jane Ledee was just like a superhuman freak. Like I don't think that was just that was insane. He was a different animal.
he was
I think
awesome.
he overshadowed some very real flaws of that team. That's my 2 cents.
A lot of teams still
Um,
22nd in the country in Sweet 16.
yeah, and lost to Connecticut. So it's like if your season ends with a Connecticut loss, it's like did your
Two
you
years in a
can
row.
basically hang a banner. You can hang a some sort of banner in your rafters. Like
Yeah.
we were the best team. We could have played it against anyone. We just played against a different team on that last day. All right, couple of ACC ones here. Higher ACC standings finish, Kai, Clemson or Virginia?
This is a tough one. I'm really high on Clemson this year, Matt. I do not forgive you
Good for
for
you.
not ranking them at all in the top 75, which is crazy to me,
Yep.
Mister.
Yeah,
Um,
Brad Brownell is usually a guy who makes you look like an idiot
but
for doubting his team. So
having said that, I am taking Virginia. This is Tony Bennett's league. It's ACC. Virginia can be bad by their standards and still be top 3 or 4 in this league. So I will take Virginia in the standings against Clemson.
I do think there's a little bit of a Clemson hangover, NC State hangover as well. Um, and Virginia is just going to be solid. So yeah, I went Virginia there.
Clemson was good before the tournament. NC State was
They
not.
no, I'm just saying like off of that fun
The
run in
run.
general. I just think both teams, for whatever reason, I just don't think they're going to be as.
Yeah, we're saying last year, Matt, to your point.
Uh,
So, okay, who was a better team last year? Clemson, for sure, than Virginia.
yep,
Virginia beat them by 2 games in the conference standings. It's just like, it's what Virginia does.
I do think their style is, it's an easy cliche, a flawed cliche at times, but I do think their style does give them a very slight edge in the conference
Mm-hmm.
format. Um, yeah, they're great at home too. Let's so Virginia, given that higher finish in the standings, Louisville or Virginia, Kai. So we said Virginia over Clemson. I am going Louisville over Virginia, and I think I'm in the minority here, as no one else seems to believe in this Louisville ball club except for myself and the faithful down there in off Fourth Street.
I think Louisville is obviously much improved. I think they'll be very good. However, I will take Virginia in the standings. Tony Bennett versus Pat Kelsey's first go in the ACC, I think, matters somewhat. It's a very brand new team as well for Louisville. I think it's basically all transfers, right? Like literally all transfers. A couple Charleston guys in there, but it's everyone's first time for the most part in the ACC. It's really tough for me to see them outperforming Virginia within conference play.
It's the ACC. Are we that scared of the ACC? It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And Pat Kelsey's the man. I got Louisville here, but last one, Big Ten. Stir up some drama. Rutgers or Illinois? Who finishes higher in Ken Palm's rankings? Again, it's just an overall who's better team. I have to go Rutgers here. I think. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to go Rutgers here.
I ranked Rutgers higher in our top 50 voting. I'm not sure I would do that again if I had to vote today. Things change over the past couple months.
I agree.
A
Yeah,
smart man takes.
I definitely I underrated Illinois in my initial onset rankings.
I don't think it's that.
But
I think I overrated Rutgers. Rutgers has had one top 30 finish in Pikel's entire coaching career, and Brad Underwood's done that 3 times in the last 4 years, 4 times in the last 5 at Illinois. I think the smart money is in Illinois to finish higher in Ken Palm.
probably right. I'm trusting Pikel. I'm just so again, I mentioned this on our storyline thing. No team is more intriguing this season. Indiana's up there, given kind of the Mike Woodson put up or shut up type of thing with all the hype they have and the talent. But I think Rutgers is like truly the most captivating team,
Yeah,
given what they have coming in, the hype and what Pikel's done and the expectation and can they live up. Yeah, so that's to me the best storyline
I think a lot
at
of
the
the issue
power
with these
level.
teams like Rutgers is you just look at the stats on paper in these roster sheets, right? You see Agbola, for instance, who has barely played, does not look good when he plays. Well,
Right, right.
someone's going to play 20, 25 minutes a game at the 5 spot. They are probably going to put up numbers. It's college basketball is all about next man up. Every single season, it seems like teams don't have a guy to fill a need or fill a role, and every single year they do. And I trust Peichel immensely on the defensive end. I think that's a given. And now you have potentially his best offensive team without a doubt, his two best talented players ever on the same
Yep.
team at the same time in Harper and Bailey. Doesn't mean they're going to be the best players he's ever had, but talent wise, they are top two. So I think that's why we were a little bit higher on Rutgers than consensus.
Yeah, they got like two point guards effectively. If Harper and Williams are sort of both doing that, and Durkat, I'm not actually a huge Durkat guy, but he can share the sugar as well. That was sort of the issue. I mean, they can't shoot. Like making shots would be a welcome start to an uptick this season, but also a point guard to create shots is a good stepping stone to that outcome. So,
Yeah, and I even push
uh,
back on Durkak. I know his percentages. I understand his percentages. I think he took a lot of bad shots because he was played for Merrimack and he led the
yeah,
NEC in usage, and he had to he had to shoot because it was Merrimack.
yeah, I buy that.
I think
I do
a
buy that.
different role means better numbers for Durkak.
That concludes our board bet discussion, Kai.
Let's give a little chat nod real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
Xavier fan Noah here. He is in the Discord. Xavier to win the Big East
Good
outright.
man.
You love Xavier this year. You're the highest on us or among us on Xavier Matthew in the rankings. We will not give away Xavier's rank. I would be a little surprised if they beat out UConn, Creighton, even Marquette for the
Yeah,
Big East title.
UConn's like the competitive advantage that UConn has is just such a. I know who left. I get all that. It's just I cannot bet against UConn right now. I will not do it. I also know the Big East is typically more prepared for UConn, and so there's actually a better chance that UConn could look more mortal in conference play than outside of conference. All that said, I can't in good faith pick Xavier over UConn. Um, but they are two. I have them two, the Big East,
I
which is
have
kind of lofty.
I probably have them three behind Creighton.
I think I have
Worth
them two.
noting, 2 years ago, UConn finished fourth in the Big East.
Yep, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, you're totally right. And like we talk about that team as part of the most dominant 2 year run in the history of college basketball. We include that season in
Yeah.
that discussion. So
They were
that's
100% the
very.
best team in the nation, but finishing fourth in the
The
Big
Big
East.
East ain't scared of UConn. The rest of the country is scared of UConn.
Yeah, there you go.
But I think UConn and a people not expecting as much from them type of spot, which they have sort of warped their selves into with who left this year, it could also be dangerous. So, hey, we shall see. Um, we shall also see on the future podcast cadence and timing.
Reviews.
TBD at the moment. Reviews. Oh, yes. Pardon me. How dare. Yeah, review of Matt hosting today. Just absolutely disastrous.
No,
Like,
you stop it.
God,
It's a two-man
God.
Jim's on a boat. Uh,
Yeah,
okay,
reviews. I love the reviewers. Give it to them.
3 reviews. We've had a couple episodes with no reviews, so we appreciate this out there, folks. Number one from Hurley Huskies. Set an alert for the weave. College hoops fans are fortunate to have these three dishing out their knowledge. That's very nice. Thank you very much.
Hashtag blessed. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
He says the rule changes episode, which I missed. It was just Jim and Matt. He said it was entertaining, but perhaps the biggest item overlooked was peel football away from, he says, Olympic sports. I'm not really sure I understand that necessarily. I'm guessing other sports in college. So basically put football on its own. He said this would return longstanding rivalries, geographic connections, conference affiliations, etc. How is this not the first item on the wish list? Football has done irreparable damage to college athletics. Matt, your thoughts?
I think he's right in the what would it look like if I could have it my way? That just feels so far fetched to me, and it's just hypocritical because we talked about some pretty far fetched concepts on that show. But that just feels so. That's like teasing myself to look at a world that I know I'll never have. It's like the guy who's serving the life sentence who looks out and It's like Andy Dufresne. It's like, hope is a dangerous thing. That's sort of how I would chalk my response. I think he's absolutely right, though. It just would be nice to not be, the tail behind the dog in terms of football leading us everywhere. But people like football. I don't really get it. I don't get why it's as popular. It's not as fun of a sport as basketball. It just isn't. I don't understand that.
Wow. Yeah, we've done
I
360
don't
plus
get that.
episodes of a college basketball
I
podcast.
don't.
We like basketball better. If football spun off, I think that would actually kind of be bad news for because basketball would
Do we
follow
do we need
eventually.
football?
I think it's important for football to stay within the NCAA. I don't know. I wouldn't say control because I think that can have unintended consequences for basketball.
Whoever's
NCAA
overseeing
tournament,
the whole thing at some point, it'd be nice if that person did both sports. Whatever that group is or apparatus is or
just money.
New World Order is. I like that group to do both. The same people.
It's like let's just be cool, man. Let's just everyone wants the same thing except for guys that want money, and people that don't make money off of this want the same thing. Rivalries, etc. Okay, Mikey Pot Pie 33, great name. A10 versus
Great
the
name.
Big East, spicy here. Hey guys, love the pod. Like you guys, my heart soars with the mid majors. One of the things that irks my mid major loving heart is when Big East fans, who can definitely be insufferable, his words, not mine, act like the A10 is a garbage conference. He said his friend, who's a Providence fan and Big East lover, did an exercise where he chose an all-conference team for the Big East. Mikey Pot Pie chose one for the A10. They then discussed what would happen if the others if they played each other. Excuse me. Dudes just being dudes, He had, the Providence fan had Cam Jones, Kadari Richmond, Alex Caravan, Eric Dixon, and Ryan Kalkbrenner. The A10 fan,
good team.
Mikey Pot Pie, had Eric Reynolds, Darius Maddox, Max Shulga, Rasheer Fleming, and Robbie Avila. He thinks his team stacks up. He asks us what we think. Matthew.
I think I agree. I think the
Spread.
depth is where Big East -3. Where's it at? Where's the game at? At the Garden?
I think Big East like minus 10 to 15.
Wow. Just on those five? Wait, just on those five. Just on those five alone, right? So I think where the depth of talent
10,
is where
10,
the Big East.
10.
Okay. So yeah, maybe if we went to those 6 through 10, I think he's got a point. Now, does that mean the A10 is good to the Big East? No, it doesn't. But I frown upon any Big East ivory tower schmucks who want to sit in their high horse and spit on the A10, the one of the most purest, like for all as much as the Big East claims to be a basketball first conference, right? Like it's always been like the pure, like the Requiem for the Big East documentary, the old, Syracuse and Georgetown, and like basketball is everything. Like the A10's always embodied that too. I think the A10 deserves your respect, Big East fans, if anyone out there actually has this take.
Let's not pretend the A10's been garbage the last couple of years. It was better last season. I think 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, it was horrible. It's definitely not the norm, and it has good teams. It has really good players. But I think to your point, Matt, the depth, excluding the DePaul and Georgetowns out there, is what sets it apart. And frankly, the top end talent, the five that the Big East guy has, those guys are all American candidates. The five that the A10 guy listed,
okay,
our first team all
-5.
conference.
Yeah, I'll go -5.
5.
3 is too low. Go 5.
I think it's closer to 10. I think, yeah. But respect. I love the A10. I've previewed them.
I just like all the A10 fan bases. Like I think I could go back and redo college.
They have a really nice
being
fan base. Collective. They do.
I'd be a SLU fan, I'd be a Dayton fan, be a VCU
Rhode
fan.
Island's got great fans.
Rhode's got a great fan base.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of them.
Mason.
Okay, last review. Sheets fan 212 says for Kai's eyes only. So Matt, don't look at this review. He said it's a great show. Nothing else. Just wanted to give Kai a review to read. Best type of reviews. Best type of reviews. Okay. That's it for reviews, Matt. Sign us off next week.
Well, that's it for the show. Come back and join us whenever the show. We'll probably get to previews by. Yes, but the topic is TBD. I'm saying the September is probably like we get into a cadence of the preview breakdown stuff. We probably have 2 more as sort of an on-ramp to that cadence. So come back and join us. Topic will be a surprise, or we'll probably announce it on Twitter or in Discord, which you sure to be a member of if you're not. Join now. Until that time, have a great weekend and take care. Bye.